Hey, you guys. Happy Saturday. Or, no, it's Friday. Happy Friday. Sorry. It's Friday because I took my trash cans down. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you come on here, tell me where you are tuning in from in the comment section. Also, hit the like button. If you choose to do so, it really helps boost the channel. I'm going to wait just a minute or so until YouTube gathers me an audience. So just hit the like button and definitely tell me where you're tuning in from. Today, I want to talk about depression, mental health. I want to talk about if you're struggling, how you can overcome the struggle. I know a lot of people are talking about the young man, I think he was 38, Twitch, that committed suicide, and how he looked so happy. He looked so vibrant. He looked so incredibly. Go ahead and tell me where you're tuning in from as you come on here and hit the like button. The chat, you commenting in the chat will actually help the video get shared. And I think this is an important video to share. So a lot of people are talking about that gentleman saying how he looked so happy. So social media is not a gauge to tell if someone is happy. And I'm actually going to share something pretty personal with all of you that I don't share very often because I try to, you know, remain in an uplifting way, but also a strong way. And I've had to do that because I've been forced to do it over the years. Because when I wasn't so strong, a lot of people took advantage of me, took my work, tried to hide my work on the internet and make money off my ideas. It was a very, very dark time in my life. And more recently, I have been caring for one of my animals that, has been going through some stuff. And this has gone on for quite a few months. And I don't share these things. I don't share these things publicly. I don't share when I feel overwhelmed, which I do. I don't share when I need help. I don't share a lot of things publicly with all of you because I try to be a pillar of light, sometimes a pillar of darkness to show you guys what you need to see. Because if we're constantly love and light, love and light, love and light, that doesn't help anyone grow. The triggers are what helps you grow. When I relocated from California we're going to talk about mental health. Let me take a sip of this. And I'm doing this because I just talked to one of my male friends who lives in, I believe, North Carolina, Jake. And he helped me immensely, immensely. And I don't reach out for help often. So when I moved from California to Las Vegas for 2 years, I had lived in a home for 10 years that I loved. It absolutely, still to this day, was my favorite place to live. I actually had leased the home for 10 years. It was the location. I love Jimbo's. I love San Diego. I love Carlsbad, California. I grew to love the vibe there and love the people there. I gotta say, San Diego really grew on me. At times, it grew on me like a fungus, but at other times, it grew on me. I loved the little places I had access to constantly. The problem was when I was living in San Diego, I didn't have my shit together. I didn't have my shit together at all. And so I was in a constant struggle there when I lived there. I did get into a relationship for quite a few years that I don't want to say it saved me. It taught me a lot of lessons, but it saved me from the struggle for sure. And when I relocated from there, I knew it was a closing of a cycle that had went on for a very long time, where I was being hidden on the internet by a jealous ex and his jealous partner, where my business was being screwed with, where I was being looked in on a lot, where a lot of things that were going on illegally and were not right. They were not justified, and there was no reason for it. It was just so, someone else could make money off my words, my ideas. Someone else got a kick out of seeing me struggle. And, I knew that cycle was ending. And I had someone literally step in. I think he was from a past life to put an end to that scenario. And this is how these things come into fruition. When I got to Las Vegas, all I wanted to do is sleep. I'm telling you, I wanted to just sleep. I wanted to relax. I wanted to write my book, Eat Right for Your Zodiac, which I did, and I wanted to rest. Unfortunately, that didn't happen there, and you've all heard about that, so I don't want to get into that anymore. Um, but again, where people were in my business constantly, and it didn't feel good, you know? I was unable to just be me, be myself, right? Because people see what you have, oh, she's driving a Mercedes. Oh, look at all that nice furniture she has. Oh, her living room was just featured on, I forget who featured my living room at the house in Las Vegas, some furniture store. Uh, what is their name? I can't remember the name. Huh. Anyway, so I had some greedy people around me in Las Vegas. I wasn't able to relax. When I discovered this beautiful home that I am loving living in, I knew that it would become a sanctuary for me for years. I knew it. I knew it. I literally manifested this house. I am a fire dragon manifesting generator. That means I can think of something in my mind and it will appear. And I had been looking at homes in Santa Fe that were adobe style with beehive fireplaces for an entire year. When I was in Vegas, I was like, God, I've always wanted something like that. Well, sometimes as a manifesting generator, we can manifest things so quick that it can kind of cause other things to spiral out of control. And that's what happened. And I love it here. But recently I realized I'm going to have to hire you know, help. Um, you know, I had a cleaning lady that would come periodically in Las Vegas. I haven't hired anyone here to clean yet. And it's a lot to keep clean. So this morning I woke up and I made a conscious effort to screen cleaning people to see if I could find someone that's good, because I love to keep an immaculate house. And with dogs and with everything I do and running two businesses, it's, throwing my clothes all over the place. I know what a slob I am. So, you know, since I moved in, I hired an organizer once and I haven't had someone do a deep clean. So I'm going to do that. But recently, I also put on a few pounds, not a lot. I think I put on like, 5 or something like that. But I realized I was reaching for foods in the evenings that weren't optimal. And I have a high level of self awareness. So when I see myself falling into a pattern that's maybe being too isolated or too one way or the other, I know how to gauge myself and get out of it. but I was trying to figure out what was making me a little bit sad. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I think a big portion of it is my little dog that I love with all my heart, has been struggling. And that's hard. I lost a dog 2 years ago. That is incredibly hard, knock on wood. And it's hard with pets. We do all we can, and they're a part of our life. And especially with me having such a close-knit relationship with the animal spirit world, I hold my pets near and dear to my heart. But this isn't something I'm displaying on social media. Why? Because I know how seedy people are. And welcome in Colorado. And I also know, I feel like this struggle is no one's business but my own. I also am kind of looking at the relationship I have with my family, and I'm looking at a lot of different things in my life that just that need work, right? And one of the things since I've moved here is a better routine. I need a better routine of getting to the gym and things like that. I'm used to having everything within 5 minutes of me. And here I do have that luxury where the groceries 5 minutes. If I need something, the gym I believe is 8 minutes. I've made some friends already that are 5 minutes away. So I'm building that rapport of a network that I need. In Las Vegas, it was very hard to sleep because, even though I was on the other side away from the nightlife, I met so many people. I dated, I formed relationships, I formed friendships there. It was hard. It was hard to, but here I'm getting what I've asked for, which is peace and solitude. Finally, Jesus, finally, finally. So finally. And I'm also, I've put an end to what was going on in my business with people, putting their hands where they didn't belong, etc. But with the growth, especially the growth in business, it comes more hands, reaching for things when sometimes they deserve it, sometimes they don't, right? Um, I'm learning how to gauge when employees are worth keeping around and when they're not. Like this is a lesson I'm learning right now. I'm learning how to reach out to someone when I need help. Me reaching out to Jake today, it was something to do with my phone that my assistant, I've told her it's been going on for weeks. I don't know, she either didn't know how to help me, couldn't help me, but he helped me. He fixed the problem. And over the phone, he fixed the problem in about an hour. And so that's a big load off my chest. He also, having a personal training background, he's like, okay, here's what you need to do, sweetie. And I've always, when it comes to my body, whenever I've gotten in the best shape of my life, I've always used a trainer. Just like people use me as a holistic wellness coach and as an intuitive life coach. Those of you who don't know, I do very little readings. Most of what I do is intuitive life and holistic wellness coaching. The people who hire me for a reason. And so, having him say, okay, here are my suggestions for you, that's a big deal to me. It's a big deal. It's advice I'm going to take. But I wanted to talk about depression. I wanted to talk about what happened to the star Twitch and how sad it made me. And it made me feel sad for this reason. I have the ability to look at people and know when they're a good person and when they're full of shit. And this guy was a genuine good person. You can tell in his face. I don't know about his wife. Not going to say anything on that. I'm not going to say anything about who he worked for, Ellen or anything like that. But I can tell when I looked at that pure-hearted face that he was a good person. Real recognizes real. And I find it shocking, but then in a sense, not so shocking because, people look at me and they're like, oh my God, look at her. She's beautiful. She glows. How is her skin translucent? She has all these beautiful things. She lives in a beautiful place. She drives a beautiful car. She has money. She has this. She has that. She doesn't have any kids she has to look after. She has cute animals. She has her health. She's vegan. She's done all this stuff. She's written books. She's been on the news. She's done this. And they paint a picture of perfection that just isn't real. I have good days and I have bad days. There were times when all that bullshit was going on and this channel was being hidden, which it's still being hidden, and my other channel was being hidden, where I didn't want to get out of bed. But then I came to the realization that that was the goal of the people that were doing that to me, and that I needed to get out of bed. For that very reason, in spite of them, I was going to continue on. So I'm sharing all this with you because I don't want you guys to let life, let negativity, let whatever financial situation you are in get you down. Things that get me down are probably different than things that get you down. I was on TikTok this morning. Let me take a sip of this. And there was a group of low vibrational stoners breeding a dog, and one of the dogs had passed away. And they were just letting the dog lay there. The dog was giving birth, and it was those real expensive, I don't know what they're called, I can't remember, but one of the dogs, and it often happens when dogs are born that one will pass away. It often happens. But one of the dogs had passed away, and the three guys that were doing this video, letting this dog give birth on their apartment floor, and they were definitely breeding the dogs to sell, they weren't doing shit about it. They were just letting the dog lay there in distress as it swelled up. And the comments were full of thousands of people saying, open the dog's mouth, push on the dog's chest, like do something. They were just like, oh, that one's going to bring in a lot of money. That really lowered my vibe and depressed me. I am a huge animal lover and also lover of elderly people, also children, but I feel that when children come into this life, they go through whatever they go through because it's part of getting rid and clearing the past life karma. That's a whole nother subject. But what I'm trying to say here is something like what I witnessed this morning on TikTok can really set my mood to be sad for a whole day. But I don't show that to the world. And I never will. I think the only time I've ever showed when something's affected me is when my dog Roger passed away. It was very difficult. And part of the reason I've grown so hard and don't show my big, beautiful Pisces heart as often as I used to the world is because of what happened to me on the internet from, like I shared with you guys, my ex and that group of people. That is part of the reason that I don't share my big loving heart anymore. It was malice. The problems still haven't been fixed. It was hateful, and it came from a place of pure evil. It affected my money for years and years and years and still affects it today. And I learned to almost create a hardened facade and to not let as many people in because I learned that people couldn't be trusted. But here's what happens when you do that. Like when I moved to Vegas and I paid 60 grand to live somewhere and they ended up stealing my money when I paid every bill on time. Sometimes when you harden yourself and you don't let people in, they'll end up just doing what someone else has done to you. So, you have to let the walls down a little bit and let people in. And when I see someone like this young man, who's very close to my age, I shouldn't call him a young man, who has a heart like mine, a very pure, loving heart, takes a big heart to see another heart. I see that he killed himself. It's not really shocking to me. It's saddening, but it's not shocking. Because who knows what he was going through in Hollywood, in LA. LA's a seedy ass place, a very seedy place. And those of you who don't know my history, a lot of people do know, I have my taste of LA. I was cast on a $30 million reality show where they came and found me off of social media, and they cast me over 150,000 people. This happened like 6 years ago. And it was Fox. And because I wouldn't sleep with someone, it was all over national media that I had, quote, been booted from the show, and it was absolute lies. And had there not been someone that witnessed what happened, and had Fox not been taken through a class action lawsuit after I walked, I would have never been vindicated. And I still wasn't vindicated. You can still find the crap on the internet about it. So I know how LA and Hollywood is if you don't conform. And so who knows what that young man, Twitch, was going through? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows if they weren't trying to take his money, if they didn't start hiding their stuff on the internet because they didn't comply? Who knows? People are horrible, you guys. I'm telling you. This is why, everybody's like, well, why didn't you have kids? It's not that I didn't want kids. It's that I didn't want kids to be exposed to the things I've seen. And I consider it a blessing, like a huge blessing. That I don't have that worry. I worry about my nephew all the time. I worry about him all the time. But I try to turn it into positivity, like, oh, I'll be fine. So, I just want to say it does really sadden me about that young man. I do think you're going to hear more about things in the future. I think they're trying to blame it on, they're saying it was because the Ellen show shut down. I don't think that's what it was, that the man had his whole future in front of him. But I got to tell you, I would like to know if he got the thing in his arm. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I would like to know if he got the thing in his arm. Because these things that they're telling you to put in your body, I've seen people go completely left, meaning completely downhill after. I saw it with the people that I leased from in Vegas, go from normal to crazy. So, you need to be really mindful what you're putting in your body. Good, healthy foods. Not everybody's going to go plant-based like I am. I've been plant-based 24 years, but a lot of fruits and vegetables. Stay off of the pharmaceuticals as much as possible. If you need it for something, if you have something like a heart condition or something, that's one thing. But if you don't need them, don't let them feed you these things. Keep your energy clear. Entity attachments, remember, they're formed through sexual contact. And also there's other ways that they're formed. A lot of you guys, I was listening to another reader talk about Jezebel's spirit, and I want to kind of get off topic for a second. So, if you are depressed, if you are going through something, reach out to someone for help. And also, there's nothing wrong, especially if you have the money to do so, to delegate things. I am looking for a affiliate marketing manager. I desperately need one. It'll take a big load off my plate. I'm also looking for a videographer in my area to come in once a month and shoot. So I'm looking for people to take huge loads off my plate. It's it's desperately needed right now because I am meant to be at the farmer's market and be at the gym and be at yoga. I'm not meant to have all this pressure on me. So, and I definitely think it's time that I call someone else in as well that is divinely guided to be beside me. So, okay, so I want to talk off topic about Jezebel's spirit. I was listening to another reader talk about Jezebel's spirit. And I want to tell you the things that she said about Jezebel's spirit and how, how to recognize a Jezebel spirit, even in yourself. Because a lot of you females have this entity attachment. You need to clear yourself of it. Jezebel's spirit is a very pick me spirit. Pick me, give me attention, pick me. We're not talking about influencers on Instagram. We're talking about someone who is needy. They're also extremely jealous. Extremely jealous. You even talk to another person, like someone's photo, and they go crazy. They're also, they're kind of the type of woman that would sleep with you on the first date or when you first meet them. They're not going to string it out over a year. They're going to like right away. They also have a very envious spirit of wanting what someone else has. That's a Jezebel spirit. So if you guys feel like you have this entity attached to you, you need to cleanse. You need to cleanse. I'm being sponsored by a parasite company, and I'm going to be sharing its products on TikTok over the next month. And I encourage you to follow me. It's Andrea Lee, Leigh Cox on TikTok. Also Andrea Lee, Leigh Cox on Facebook. Raw Chef Andrea on Instagram. But a lot of you are going to need to do this parasite cleanse. That's one way you can clear entity attachments off of you, but there's also several other ways. So I am going to get to the gym. I love you guys. I hope this helped you.